Hello everybody, it's CapCorgi. Thank you so much for hopping on in tonight. I got something fun to talk about. Tomorrow is the Game Awards. And there's been something pretty crazy spotted. Now, anyone who knows the Game Awards knows that, I love the award part of the Game Awards. I love finding out Game of the Year. I love talking about the nominees. And I did that a lot over the past couple of days, and, a couple of weeks, actually. And even recorded a video that you guys were so kind to really watch and enjoy a lot of. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I will link this in the description below if you guys want to hear about the nominations. I did cover them all. But tonight we are talking about something a little bit different related to the Game Awards. Like I said, while the Game Awards have a lot of awards, that's my favorite part, they also showcase a lot of brand new upcoming games. A lot of teasers, a lot of trailers, a lot of those things. And that's what we're talking about tonight. This right here, this weird sculpture is out there. It's a desert monolith that Jeff Keighley and some specific video game maker, of which we don't know yet, created and put out into the desert. Like it's a sculpture, it's a real life sculpture, and it is something related to an upcoming video game. Jeff Keighley, I will link this in the description below as well, because this is directly related to, this is our subject tonight. Jeff Keighley spoke with Eurogamer regarding this strange desert monolith he placed. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but let's say the world will never be the same, and the reckoning will soon be upon all sinners. Very spooky. Tune into the Game Awards, sponsored by, of course, Spotify. So, obviously, this is a teaser to a video game, and it's going to be something big. It's big enough that they created a physical, monolith. And there are other things here as well. So there's this as well. It is the same monolith, but it has these like little prongs coming out that light up at night. And so this looks really, really, really interesting. Apparently it's near Highway 62, near Joshua Tree, for anyone who wants to see it. I'm just looking on, Twitter, and people have been seeing it. Smoke also appears overnight. Some people think it's a horror game. It's definitely being called the Monolith Mystery right now. And it's pretty interesting stuff. So here, let's see the little video about it. So this is just a 1 minute long video, so we can see it in action. Now, the real question is, what game is it? I wanted to think about with you guys right now what game it could possibly be. We're about, just a little bit over 24 hours until the Game Awards, where we'll actually find out what this is trying to reveal. But as a result, all we can do is what everyone is doing right now, which is conjecture. Now, we will take a closer look. Actually here, I was trying to pause it. But here, let's wait for them to spin around, and then I'll pause. I hate TikTok. It doesn't pause very well. Zoom in, baby. Come on. Stop moving the camera. Come on. Oh, my God. Some people's kids. I swear to God. This is like the worst camera work ever. All right, here we go. Okay. This is good enough. So, this is a pretty good close-up of the sculpture. We can see all kinds of details here. We're going to suss it out right now. We see a lot of skulls. We see a lot of skeletons. We see some things that are shaped like demons. I can see some things that can be considered, orcish. I'll try to see if I can find some high-definition pictures as well. This 9-prong thing, I don't know if you guys know, I'm actually watching Critical Role right now, Season 2. And there's like a god called the Nonagon with 9 eyes and stuff. And so, maybe it's something like that. So, my brain was jumping to, like, Baldur's Gate or something. But, it's really, really hard to tell because there's so many elements to this. You can see some kind of, like, armor over here. Here, let's see if we can find some more pictures. It's pretty crazy. Let's see. Is there any other high definition picture is what I'm looking for. So this is what the actual monolith, you know, by itself looks like without the stone in the background. So I'll grab this and stick it so we can see it closer. Yeah, and some people have confirmed what it's not. So Lords of the Fallen 2 confirmed it's not them. I think Diablo confirmed it's not them either. You know, demons and, you know, judgment and the entire spiel from Jeff Keighley about judgment and everything like that. It's nothing like that. It is nothing like that. So it's really really interesting what it could possibly be. This is just stuff from last year. So we'll just go back to this picture. You can see, like, you know, some alien shapes. You know, something that could be there are horns here for sure. We got some of the, you know, this crocodile dude. The crocodile dude, you know, this could be. There's a few things. Let's think about it from another angle. Let's think about it from another angle. What game would be such a surprise it would change the world? That's the real question. And I think we can cut it down to just a few possible options. Something that is epic, something that is huge, and something that is in some way a sequel to something previous. It's way too soon for Diablo 5, and Diablo 4, you know, was kind of mid. So I don't think it's going to be Diablo. That's not exactly going to change the world. I think that From Software and Larian Studios are two of the best video game companies. Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring. Those are the two actual games of the decade for me. I love other games. You know, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is my game of the year. Expedition 33 is a lot of other people's games of the year, and it's my second favorite, so it's not like I'm knocking it. It's just, you know, I love, you know, the fantasy setting of Kingdom Come better, but, like, you know, it's just a personal taste. But they're both amazing games. But neither of those are going to have a sequel right now. So I think it's pretty possible it could be a mainline game from either From Software or Larian Studios. Those are the two finest game-making companies that pretty much everyone trusts. Everyone loves Elden Ring. Everyone loved Baldur's Gate 3, and still does, because it's still getting updates. And everyone wants a new mainline game from both of those companies. And both those companies, their mainline games, Elden Ring, as in not Night Rain, but like the actual Elden Ring, and Baldur's Gate 3 came out a couple of years ago. So there's been some time for new development of stuff. Obviously not counting DLCs. There's been a DLC for both games. So that is a very high possibility. At Baldur's Gate 4, so first of all, it actually cannot be Baldur's Gate. Larian Studios has confirmed they are not attached in any way, shape, or form to Baldur's Gate 4. Unfortunate news, but you know, for various reasons, Hasbro, the company that makes D&D, that, you know, has the property of Baldur's Gate, they were apparently, like, terrible to work with, and so as a result, you know, Larian just does not want to work with them again, which is very smart and very fair. Apparently they were, like, absolutely horrific to do so, as in Hasbro. So that is one part. But a lot of people don't know that there was another series that Larian worked on that gave them all of the experience, all of the street cred, all of the, you know, the background, where, just like From Software, they iterated and iterated and iterated on this turn-based, tactical, extremely in-depth, choices matters, interactive world RPG called Divinity. Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, let me open up my Steam so I can show you guys the Steam page, are two of the highest rated and amazing games. I played them both. Divinity Original Sin 2, we'll just show 2. One came out as well. But these games are the Baldur's Gate 3 before Baldur's Gate 3. And as you can tell, like, if you look at the game, you're like, wow, this looks an awful lot like Baldur's Gate 3. There's a reason Baldur's Gate 3 is so good, because they made game after game after game. Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Divine Divinity, and then Divinity Original Sin 1 and Divinity Original Sin 2. just over and over, creating the world, iterating, creating mechanics, figuring out exactly how to finely tune this balance, you know, the balance between game choice, breaking the game, but also, you know, making it a game that people could actually play. You know, Divinity, the first 3 games, Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Divine Divinity, I played those games way before I even knew who Larian Studios was, because, you know, that was like 20 years ago, feels like, almost, maybe 15. But regardless, really, really early days. And those games are amazing, but those games also suffer from something where you can soft lock yourself so fast. If you kill the wrong NPC, your character gets off the horse or whatever, he shows up, and you finally get control of your character after the intro, and you can choose to pull out your sword and whack the person in front of you, who is the quest-giving NPC that tells you, hey, you're the chosen one, go save the world, whatever, whatever. If you kill him, you soft lock yourself in the world for that game. For at least, I think, the first 2 games. I think by the 3rd game, they figured out maybe that's not such a good idea. And then Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, there was a lot less soft locking. And Baldur's Gate 3, you know, even less soft locking. There's still ways to screw up the game completely and, like, you know, really make your own life miserable. But it becomes a lot harder to do as they got more experienced. But those games are still amazing games, and they all built upon each other in a truly unique and magnificent way. And as you can see, you know, the choices matter, you know, your stats matter for whatever, you know, thing you're doing in the game. Just talking to someone, you have to use your intelligence or your constitution or whatever. All of these things that made Baldur's Gate 3 so great, they were able to really, really hone in on in Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 especially. So that is a high possibility. And that game has orcs. That game has talking crocodiles. That game has a lot of skulls and sinners and reckoning and all kinds of stuff. It's called Divinity for a reason. There's a lot of demons and gods. So I think that is probably, you know, sussing it out with you guys, that is one of my higher possibilities, higher percentage possibilities. And Larian Studios is one of the most storied now video game makers on the planet in terms of quality. Because Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, they weren't as well known, but they were still absolute bangers from anyone who really, really honed in on the RPG genre, especially the turn-based RPG genre. Everyone who knew those games knew that it was a 10 out of 10 game, both of them. Divinity Original Sin 1 has some flaws, but 2 is just 10 out of 10. In fact, if you've never played Baldur's Gate 3 and you're wondering, what is all the hubbub about, CapCorgi? I don't know if I want to try and, you know, spend, like, you know, that much money on Baldur's Gate 3, because it's still, I mean, it's lower than the $80, $70 market price, which plagues all games now, pretty much on at least, you know, AAA style releases. Baldur's Gate 3 is $60, but still it's $60. If you are wanting to play something similar and high quality, just like Baldur's Gate 3 is, but not for that price, the winter sale will start in a couple of weeks on Steam, and you'll be able to get Divinity Original Sin 2 for like $15. And that game is so good. It's so good for full price. I think full price is $40. But for $15, it's a steal. Play it. Trust me, you're gonna love it. And it'll cost you next to nothing for the amount of quality and hours and replayability it has. Regardless, that was just a random aside. The Divinity series has all of these ingredients. It really does nail all these ingredients. I think this is entirely possible. However, there's a wrinkle in this. People other than me also thought it could be Divinity Original Sin 3. And publishing director at Larian Studios, Michael Dowse, says there are no current plans for Divinity Original Sin 3. He made it pretty clear, sadly. There aren't currently any plans for a new Divinity Original Sin 3 game, but once we're ready to show what we've been working on, we will. So that is Cromwell. He's actually a really good account to follow on Twitter as well. He talks a lot. He's extremely opinionated. He talks about the games that he loves. His game of the year is Expedition 33. He loves gaming. He's a true blue gamer. But But I want to let you know, guys, that you know, it is also pretty clear that this symbol is very Divinity. It is very, very Divinity. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that this statement by Cromwell, the publishing director at Larian Studios, he said very specifically, there are no current plans for a new Divinity Original Sin 3 game. The entire series before it was called Original Sin was just called Divinity. This could just be, you know, some movie-style semantics. You know, when they say, you know, we don't know if Iron Man will return ever again, or, you know, we don't know, there's going to be some shocking deaths, and they're, like, you know, overly vague, and then, you know, Endgame comes out, and then we find out, like, what happens, stuff. You know, that kind of stuff. This could be one of those situations where it's not Divinity Original Sin 3 that they have plans for. It might be Divinity. Like a brand new just Divinity game. Just called Divinity. Just called, you know, Divinity Beyond, or, you know, something like that. It could be that. Because the Original Sin part was like kind of like a little bit of a spin-off of the original Divinity series. So that is an entire possibility. That is an entire possibility. And also, these graphics right here for the monolith and everything, it's quite a bit darker than Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. This is more akin to, like, the original Divinity trilogy, Divinity, Beyond Divinity, and Divine Divinity. And I played those games at length. Those games were dark. Those games were, like, grimdark. Whereas I showed you Divinity Original Sin 2, you know, it has some very bright colors. Like, you know, it has some darkness and everything, but, for sure. But it's not, like, grimdark. It's definitely not grimdark. You know, it's just not. So that is a very distinct possibility. Now, the other possibility is From Software has been very quiet. The other company that made one of the best games of all time, Elden Ring and, you know, all the Dark Souls and everything, they have not talked about their upcoming games much at all. We know of Night Rain. We played Night Rain. And we also know of Dust Bloods, which is the Nintendo Switch game. However, Nintendo Switch game is not something that you can really hang your hat on as being, like, you know, the next huge thing. And also Dustblood is a similar thing where it's like, you know, pseudo multiplayer, and, you know, you're trying to play with other people. It's not really like a mainline style. At least, you know, the leaks, it doesn't seem like a true mainline cycle of like a, you know, a game like Dark Souls, a game like Elden Ring. It doesn't seem like one of those. So we have not seen or heard about a new mainline From Software game, period. If we're not counting Dustbloods as main line. Because every indication is it's another kind of like Night Rain style. You're doing things multiplayer. You have a different type of gold than you would normally have for, you know, a type of, like, you know, Dark Souls style game. So that is a very distinct possibility. And maybe, you know, they've never really delved into, you know, crocodiles. They do have Naga. They do have dragons like crazy in Dark Souls. But, you know, these types of, like, you know, other fantasy elements, they don't really have too much of. However, again, let's go back to the words of Jeff Keighley. Sinners, reckoning, you know, all of these types of words, there have been those types of themes in Dark Souls for the entirety of Dark Souls. There's a lot of sinning. There's a lot of, you know, repenting. There's a lot of reckoning. There's a lot of lightning going around. There's a lot of war. There's a lot of grimdark. And this is a very grimdark feel. Actually, I like this picture more than the other one. This is higher quality, so we'll keep it on this one. So that is a very, very distinct possibility. And this could be like, you know, one of the pilgrims from Dark Souls 3 with, you know, the big hunchback guys. And I think they were in Elden Ring as well. So yeah, you know, this is something that could happen here. And the multi-pronged thing, this could fit. This could fit a Dark Souls. This could absolutely fit that kind of thing. Now, what else could it be? What else could it be? Elder Scrolls has been very quiet. has been very quiet. We have not heard about Elder Scrolls 6 for, I think, I don't want to say a decade, but it might actually be a decade. Let's see, when was the Elder Scrolls 6 trailer? When was Elder Scrolls 6 teaser? 2018. It was 7 years ago. I jumped the gun a little bit. 7 years ago. 7 years ago. 7 years is a very long time, guys. And I think it's pretty clear that they're not going to be doing too much more work on Starfield. So what other game series that is extremely well known that would break the gaming world, that one teaser, it was like 10 seconds long, you saw zero gameplay, it was just a rolling camera on a map for the Elder Scrolls 6 teaser. Actually, let me see if I can bring it back up. We can actually watch the teaser. That entire thing was... This broke the internet, and it was like nothing. It was such a nothing burger.
But in June of 2022,
I just want to see the teaser. Okay, this is just some guy yapping. Here it is, the announcement trailer. This is what I was looking for. This is a 30-second clip. Let me mute my music. You guys can get the ambiance of Bethesda. We'll just wait through it. Man. Even knowing there's nothing here at the time, seeing these words, hearing this music, it stirs something in me. It really does. Even though I know there's nothing attached to it for 7 fucking years. But guys, this could be related to Elder Scrolls. You know, Elder Scrolls doesn't shy away from this type of stuff. You've seen all kinds of zombies and necromancy and, you know, the Dremora, those big demons from the Oblivion Plane and everything. There's like a big alligator-looking one that is basically just like this, except slightly less humanoid. It's slightly more animalistic. You know, these types of things, it is a little bit darker than Elder Scrolls, but, you know, Elder Scrolls might be going for something new because of how many times they've released Skyrim, because of how much they've had to go through with Starfield sucking dick, how much problems they've had with the Fallout franchise. This could be like a revitalization of Elder Scrolls. They're going for the darker feel. They're going for the grim dark. They're going for, you know, a much more fantasy, you know, gritty style game. One can only hope. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Now, I talked about Divinity, but I actually made a comment here, and I think, you know, maybe this could be a little bit more to the point. Imagine Larian Studios' Warhammer game. Warhammer Fantasy or Warhammer 40k, either way. I mean, dude, this would be absolute cinema. Because that has everything to do with demons. That has everything to do with sinners and reckoning and, you know, demonic entities and all kinds of gritty shit like that. Oh, the Warhammer universe is so cool. I know Fantasy Warhammer far better than 40k, but both are extremely highly rated. That would break the internet. Absolutely. A Larian Studios 40k game or you know, Fantasy Warhammer game would absolutely just like, that would be something really fucking cool. And you know, if there's someone I would really, you know, love to see do a Warhammer game, it would be Larian Studios. So they do it justice, and you know, that level of reactivity and everything, that level of being able to tell a dark story as well. They would be able to handle that like insanely well. So that is another possibility as well. Now, the other possibility I've not seen anyone talk about, Fable. We have not seen hide nor hair of Fable in like 3 years. It's been a long time since we've seen anything from Fable. It is kind of high time we see something from Fable. And Fable does have orcs. It does have, you know, magical creatures. It does have a lot of skulls and bones and zombies and things like that. It doesn't have anything this weird looking typically. Fable 1, 2, and 3. But, you know, this is entirely possible. You know, that is very, very much possible. I think that is a possibility a lot of people have not really talked about. So those are, I think, the 4 highest possible choices here. I think the highest possibility is definitely Larian Studios. I think the second highest From Software. And then I think, you know, Elder Scrolls is 3rd place, distant 3rd. And then, you know, Fable or something like that, some other random property like that, is like a distinct 4th place. Like, absolutely just way, way, way far behind. So I don't really think the other 2 are likely, but I do think Larian Studios, some kind of new Larian Studios property, either going back to Divinity or a Warhammer game, that'd be amazing. Or you know, From Software. Those are my 2 distinct possibilities. Something that would change gaming, something that would break gaming and this and that, all these, like, high phrases and everything. I really do think that those are the most likely possibilities. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys think is likely? What do you guys think would fit both the aesthetics of this, like, you know, stone statue of the monolith right here with all the armor and grittiness and, you know, the skulls, and it looks dark as shit, but also something that would fit this, because this is very much a distinct part of the monolith, and it has 9 prongs. You know, well, actually, more than 9 prongs. It has, you know, 8 prongs. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it has 8 prongs. I guess if you count the middle, then it's 9. Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. You know, something like that. A demon's eye, something very demonic, very dark, something like that that glows. All those things. I think those are the 2 most distinct. What do you think would fit both this aesthetic and this aesthetic? I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think Warhammer is more likely? Do you think Fable is more likely? Do you think it is something that we have not even thought of? Something completely fucking random. Something like let's see. Shoot. Like a Sith Lord Star Wars game, because, you know, that has, like, all kinds of alien species as well. I don't know. I'm just you know, tossing out some random ideas here, but I don't really know what else would break gaming other than, you know, Larian Studios or From Software. Like, just genuinely, those are the 2 game companies that everyone, even if they hate pre-ordering games like me, they would pre-order a game from either of those 2 companies. It's just one of those things. It really, really is. So, yeah, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought about my conjecture. What do you guys think about my discussion? And, again, give this video a like, a sub, share with your friends. And if you do want to see the Game Awards live, I will be covering it live on Twitch tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, starting on Twitch. That's when the pre-show starts, and there's just going to be some yapping. 8 o'clock p.m. is when the actual show starts. We'll be watching it all live. I'll be reacting to it all live. I'll be watching every single game announcement, every single yap, every single actual game award, which is my favorite part, and we'll be talking about it all. I'll be posting the video afterwards as well, but if you want to catch it live, hop into CapCorgi on Twitch, and I will definitely catch you guys there. We'll always talk about fun stuff. We'll always have a good time here and there. And thank you guys for your patience. Thank you guys for your time. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And, of course, catch you guys in the next video always. Take care, my friends. And, you know, either way, I think we can be really clear. Either way, the aesthetic of these statues and everything, dude, it looks awesome. Like, I think we're in for a banger. Whatever it is, I think we're going to be happy. Whatever it is, we're going to be happy. That's a good thing.